Week 1 of the NFL season is here. I know everybody wants to be betting on the NFL week 1. It's too exciting, it's too appetizing, and that's why I'm here. I'm here to help you identify the parlays, the teasers to bet to win this NFL week 1. In this video, I'm going to give you an Underdog Moneyline Parlay, the Mitch Moneymaker Parlay. I created that. What do you think of the name? And then the teasers that you should be looking at this NFL week 1. If that sounds good, don't forget to spike the like button and subscribe to the channel for more BLV just like this and a ton more betting content for the rest of the season. If you haven't already, check out the rest of my best bet videos. I talked about over-unders, I talked about spread picks, and now I'm talking about parlays. So let's get to it with the first and main parlay to play, and that is the Mitch Moneymaker Parlay, which is going to combine some spread picks as well as money line plays that I like this week. Beginning with my favorite bet of the week, which is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers minus 2.5 over the Dallas Cowboys. If you can find it anywhere under 3, I would add this to your parlay for week 1. I feel very confident about where Tampa is at entering the season. I love Tom Brady entering a season motivated. You got to love it. The man is undefeated versus Dallas. I've never seen him play a bad game versus Dallas, throwing 14 touchdowns to only 4 picks. Tom Brady is ready to go and rip the Cowboys just like he did last year in week 1. He's got a new weapon in Julio Jones, who, according to everybody, is looking incredible in training camp. Lenny Fournette couldn't stop talking about the guy. The defense, everybody is pumped about the addition of Akeem Hicks, Logan Ryan. This team, this secondary, this front 7, they're ready to roll. And I believe they could dominate that matchup versus Dak Prescott, providing some pressure versus a suspect offensive line and shutting down CeeDee Lamb, forcing Dak to go with the football to places he doesn't want to go because he doesn't have Cooper. He doesn't have Gallup. He doesn't have the options he had a year ago. So the Bucs are the number 1 team added to my parlay. The next team that I'm adding to the parlay is the Philadelphia Eagles. And you could pick your poison here. Do you want to get a little bit bold and take the Eagles minus 4? I'm simply going to just put the Eagles on the money line. I don't feel like this spread should be 4. I think it should be a lot greater than 4. I understand there's a lot of Detroit Lions hype. There's a lot of course, Hard Knocks hype. But I'm buying into the Eagles hype as one of the legit contenders in the NFC this year. They are one of the most loaded rosters. They are elite on the offensive and defensive lines. And where I think they really win this game is Jalen Hurts comes out dealing. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert, there are simply no corners, no safeties, no linebackers that can cover these men on the Detroit Lions. The Lions defense, I think, is suspect. I think it can be definitely thrown on, and I do feel their linebackers as well are too slow sideline to sideline to deal with Jalen Hurts and that Eagles quarterback running game. So give me the Eagles in that parlay along with the Bucs. Then we have the Kansas City Chiefs on the money line over the Arizona Cardinals. The Chiefs, I think, are going to come out, and Patrick Mahomes looked phenomenal in preseason. I love where he is at in terms of his headspace. Feels motivated after kind of a sluggish, lackluster season last year. I feel like he's going to come out hot. Patrick Mahomes versus Kyler Murray. Sure, Kyler Murray might put up some points, but I just feel like the Chiefs are going to be in command. I feel like the offense is going to be easily moving the ball up and down the field. And yes, they don't have Tyreek Hill anymore, but the offensive line is stellar. The Cardinals do not have much in terms of a pass rush as Chandler Jones is gone. The secondary is extremely suspect. And I do feel Mahomes, Reed can take advantage. Reed is also very good to start seasons traditionally. So I'm going to add the Chiefs to that parlay. The next team I'm adding to the parlay is the Denver Broncos on the money line. The Denver Broncos, Russell Wilson, they're going to Seattle on Monday night. This is a showcase primetime game. They're showcasing the Denver Broncos. That's what they're doing. They're not showcasing the Seattle Seahawks. They're showcasing the talent that people do not know of on the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos have, I think, an underrated offensive line. I think a running back that's ready to surge into stardom in Javonte Williams. Two receivers that can take advantage of rookies in the secondary for Seattle and Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. Russ is going to be absolutely motivated. This guy has a chip on his shoulder entering this week and this year. And the Denver defense, I just don't see many matchups for the Seahawks here. Geno Smith at quarterback for Seattle, a suspect offensive line, DK Metcalf versus Pat Jr. there at cornerback for the Broncos. I just don't see where the Seahawks are going to be able to consistently move the ball. They'll try to run the ball. Big DJ Jones in the middle for the Broncos should help their run D there. I like the Broncos 100% to win that game. If not cover the spread, but I feel a lot more confident in Seattle to just pick them to win the game. And then we have a couple optional additions to the Mitch Moneymaker Parlay. This is up to you and how spicy you want to get here. But you can optionally add the San Francisco 49ers and the Baltimore Ravens as two of the heavier favorites this week to win their games outright. Now, I prefer to just tease them, which we'll talk about in a bit here, but you can add them to the parlay as well if you're feeling very confident about Lamar versus Joe Flacco and the Jets in New Jersey, or if you're feeling fantastic about the Trey Lance 49ers and what Kyle Shanahan's going to showcase in week one that nobody's seen before versus a very bad Chicago Bears team with a very bad offensive line that Nick Bosa is going to absolutely destroy. So I like those additions. They're pretty quote-unquote safe additions if there are any in betting, but I like those additions. I like that parlay. That is the Mitch Moneymaker Parlay, the first ever Mitch Moneymaker Parlay for week one of this 2022 NFL season. The second parlay is the long shot Moneyline Underdog Parlay. And that is 4 different underdogs in one parlay. This is a long shot for a reason, guys. Don't go out and spend all your money on this parlay. But these are the underdogs that I like. Maybe you don't want to include them all in a parlay. Maybe you want to bet on one individually that you really like. Maybe my confirmation for you makes it better. Whatever you want to do, right? But these are the 4 underdog teams that I feel good about. The first of which, and my favorite, is Jacksonville to beat Washington in Washington. I like Trevor Lawrence entering this year. I think he's going to have a better season than Carson Wentz. I think he's going to be regarded as a better quarterback very soon, very quickly this season. I think Carson Wentz is going backwards. I think he's had a terrible training camp. I haven't heard anything good about him. I think he is going to hurt the offensive line. He's going to hold on the ball. And Jacksonville's defensive line is really underrated, guys. Josh Allen can play. I believe that the kid Trayvon Walker can play. I really like Arden Key. I really like Dwayne Smoot. They've got a lot of depth. They've got a lot of talent in that front seven, including linebackers Aluakon, Devin Lloyd, a solid secondary. I really like Jacksonville's defense. I think they're going to cause Wentz fits, and I do believe Trevor Lawrence has good matchups with Travis Etienne, Christian Kirk, and company to move the ball well enough to win that game on the road. So I like Jacksonville. Second, I like the Patriots this week. More so plus the 3.5. I feel like that's pretty juicy. But I also can see the Patriots winning the game over the Dolphins in Miami because it's Bill Belichick, simply put, Bill Belichick versus a rookie head coach that we know very little about. How much was Kyle Shanahan? How much was Mike McDaniel? Did he really get his job because he's a good coach or because he's attached to Kyle Shanahan? We don't quite know that yet. You also get the better quarterback, Mac Jones over Tua, and you also get a very underrated defense that I think can win the line of scrimmage on their side of the ball. Matt Judon, Christian Barmore, and company against a suspect Miami offensive line that is not really going to be able to run the ball consistently this year. Yes, they have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, more fantastic weapons, but here's the thing. The Dolphins are missing Byron Jones this week, which means that their secondary advantage against New England's receivers isn't there in this game. So New England to pull off the upset, even in Miami, their house of horrors, does seem real as an underdog, which traditionally is not the case for the Patriots. That might give them a chip on their shoulder as they went to Miami 4 or 5 days early to get ready to prepare for the Miami Heat. Not the basketball team, but the weather. And then we've got the Minnesota Vikings over the Green Bay Packers. I really love taking the Vikings in week 1 at home in that building, and one of the best home fields in football with that offense. Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, Irv Smith, Kirk Cousins, of course, even KJ Osborne. I love these guys, Adam Thielen. They can move the ball on any defense. I don't care if the Packers are being, touted as the best defense in the league or whatever, which I'm not sure that's correct, but I do believe the Vikings can score 20 plus against anybody. And I wonder about the Packers offense in week 1. No real receiver. Alan Lazard could be out for all that we know. He's hurt right now. And who is Rodgers going to really rely on in this game? If this becomes a shootout, this really does help the Vikings. And the Vikings have a good pass rush as well. Daniil Hunter and Zadarius Smith, who's also possibly having a revenge game here. So I think that the Vikings as an underdog are very, very, very reasonable at home. And the final underdog to add to this underdog moneyline parlay is the Las Vegas Raiders. This one I'm the most skeptical about because I love both of these teams long term this season. But what I love about this game is the Raiders, hey, they beat the Chargers the last game of the year last year. Both teams improved drastically. But there's something about Derek Carr in those close games against the Chargers. I feel like he could do it again here. There's not a lot of pressure on the Raiders, right? New coach. A lot of people are really, really hyping up the Chargers. And I feel like the Raiders with Devontae Adams, no JC Jackson on the other side, he can torch anybody else that lines up against him in this game. And I feel like that's a huge advantage the Raiders have in this game from a one-on-one perspective, an individual matchup that they can really attack. On top of that, you got Darren Waller, you got Hunter Renfrow, a run game that could really give the Chargers some fits in this game with Josh Jacobs, what McDaniels is going to throw at Brandon Staley's defense. The Patriots had a lot of success with McDaniels running the ball against the Chargers last year, so you expect him to bring some of that to the table. Even though the Chargers got better from a personnel perspective, I still think that you can run the ball on them. And then the other side of the ball, Crosby and Chandler Jones are going to be a problem for any offensive line. I understand that the Chargers offensive line, more continuity this year, a little bit better than the Raiders offensive line, maybe a lot better, but they still have a problem at right tackle. Their right side of their offensive line is still suspect. You got a creative defensive coordinator over there with the Raiders, a lot of new pieces that you've never really seen before, and you've got Crosby and Chandler Jones who could change a game with a single play. In a game that could be a shootout, I like the team with a really good kicker, a really good quarterback, coordinator. They've got the better offensive schemer here, and I think it's difficult to know from a Chargers perspective what the Raiders are going to be, and it's tough for the Chargers when everybody knows what the Chargers are going to be. They're going to be pass first, and the defense and the system they're running. So the Raiders are interesting this week as an underdog as well, and they're the final team in my underdog moneyline parlay. Lastly, the teaser options this week, we got about 4 or 5 options that you should look to this week. And guys, don't neglect teasers. I absolutely love teasers, and to me, they're the most consistent hit in the NFL, so definitely learn them. So the way that you want to play teasers typically are trying to get through key numbers. And my favorite way to play them is usually taking a favorite of about 8 to 7 points and teasing them down under 3. And that is the case for 3 different teams this week. As I discussed, we've got the Ravens, who you can tease down from 7 to 1, which is basically a money line bet on the Ravens. You can tease the Niners down from 7 to 1. That, again, is basically a money line bet. You can combine those, and that would be like betting, a spread on either one of them. You can also add to that the Colts, who you could take from 7 or 8, depending on where you get the number, down to 2 or 1, which is also, the Colts over the Texans, 3 teams that are much more talented, much better, much more anticipated to be great teams this year than the 3 counterparts of 3 of the worst teams in football. So you could take those 3 teams and include them in a 6-point teaser, get them all underneath 2 even, and you could win some money that way. That is a great teaser bet in my opinion. And then you've got the reverse teaser that I also really like, which is the reverse. So you're taking a team that's a underdog of under 3 points-ish, and you're boosting them above a touchdown, above potentially 8 points, 1 possession. So there's teams like the Rams that you could look to tease above 8.5 on Thursday night if you want to have some action. Maybe include them with Jacksonville, a team that I already discussed that I feel like has a strong chance of winning the game. Well, you don't even got to worry about winning the game outright if you just take them in the teaser, and then they can just cover a full touchdown, which they're only an underdog of 2.5 this week, and they should be able to cover that. So Jacksonville and the Rams that way is another great teaser option for you guys. Those are my parlays and my teasers for week number 1. Let me know in the comments what you guys think and what your favorite parlay is for the week. I love to hear them. Don't get too crazy. Don't spend too much money on parlays, guys. Make sure to be balancing what you're going to do this week and for the rest of the season. But be smart with your betting, and good luck. It's Mitch. We will see you in the next video. Peace.